In this episode of Merrill Moments, we take a look back 10 years ago to April 10th, 2011, when the lives of many of us here in Merrill were changed significantly by one big blast of wind. And we're talking about the tornado of 2011.
I remember it being an extremely unseasonably warm day. They were talking about storms all day long that, around nightfall. A little bit before 6 p.m., they issued a tornado warning for Lincoln County.
Eating dinner, the tornado sirens first went off. We were going to go to church at 6 at Trinity. On our way to church, the tornado sirens went off a second time. About 6:20, I remember looking out the window and seeing a very small dirt vortex out the window of the basement of the church. And that was at the same time that the tornado was coming through Merrill.
Pretty clear that some significant weather was going to move through. I was watching the west side of Merrill, observed the funnel cloud. The response at that point was to go to affected areas of town, make sure that citizens needed any form of assistance, that we were there to help them.
Now, all your coverage. Newsline 9 at 10.
It was dark and it was twirling like crazy.
The truck flipped over.
We didn't know if we were going to make it or not.
A wild night of weather across much of north central Wisconsin.
Lincoln County, one of the hardest hit areas.
We were completely wiped out.
A family waits out the storm in their basement as the walls cave in.
We got a lot of nice antique furniture.
Tony Schumacher begins our coverage tonight with the latest on what's happening out there right now. Tony?
Well, I tell you what, looking at the data, think there may have been up to 5 tornadoes in our viewing area. Then a couple of reports of touchdowns between Little Chicago, Hamburg, up through Merrill. The storms are done. Back to you.
Extensive damage, of course. Homes lifted off of their foundations and scattered across the street.
An entire street covered in tree branches and insulation. Newsline 9's Bonnie Shelton was on the scene after a tornado ripped through Merrill, and she joins us now live with reaction.
I talked with homeowners who say they barely made it to their basement before the tornado ripped through their homes and ripped them to pieces. It lasted just seconds, but the nightmare is just beginning. Take a listen to these firsthand accounts.
We were just running downstairs, and we just got down there, and everything was gone. And when the doors and the paneling started hitting us in the head, we didn't know if we were going to make it or not. We looked up, and you could see the blue sky. The roof of the house, or the floor and everything, it took off. Just one roar, and it was over with. It took about a minute, maybe.
We left church that day about 7 o'clock, walked out into the parking lot, saw branches, trees, small stuff down, and we said, oh, it must have really been a big storm, and headed north towards our house, and we got about to the airport where we started to see a lot of the carnage as we approached the intersection of Hillside and Airport Road. It was all blocked off, and there was no way to get through, so we tried to get out to our house another way. I remember coming around the corner, seeing nothing but our basement and a kitchen wall and our fireplace standing. And that was all that was left of our house.
And you're probably thankful that you went to church that night.
Very thankful. In fact, the first call I made that night was to our pastor. I told him, I says, a tornado hit our house. And he said, well, how bad is it? I said, we lost everything. And he said, no, you didn't. You were just here. I know your family's safe, so you didn't lose your family. And he says, I know you have quite a few friends. And he said, those are the 3 things that are going to get you through this. Yeah. And that sticks with me forever, I think.
One of the things that I take away from the way the community came out and helped everybody they could. And I mean, people were coming from everywhere to help.
The help was tremendous. It's overwhelming. Yeah. I still get emotional about it today. People came from all over.
So then the rebuilding process, how long did it take before you could move back into the house and were pretty well settled back in?
Immediately started the process on Monday after the tornado. I had a friend come out who's a building contractor. He came out and inspected what was left of our foundation. So we began a process with drawing up some house plans, went and looked at some different houses, and we dug out our old foundation and hired a contractor who came in and started construction, and we were in our new house by December 19th. We are thankful that we're still here. There was really only one injury during that tornado. It could have been much worse.
That's what's really incredible about it. For that devastation that happened, very minimal number of injuries.
It can happen to anybody. It's a terrible thing to go through. So
here we are, 10 years later. Do you think tornado and severe weather awareness is something we should still be thinking about?
Absolutely. I feel like that probably saved some lives 10 years ago when that tornado came through.
This year, Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week begins on April 12th. I talked with Lincoln County Emergency Management Director September Murphy about tornado preparedness and severe weather awareness.
So I think one of the things I'm kind of trying to focus on this year, both professionally and personally, is just how to stay informed. Our National Weather Service will actually send out alerts to their local stations, and then you'll see those banners come across. The local news themselves will usually generally get on then too when the storms are severe and give you more detailed information for your local area, just so you can stay informed, and that's kind of the focus again this year. Is a watch is saying that the conditions are right and that there's possibly something that could happen. It may not as well, but to really watch, take that word quite literally and just watch. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're going to go outside and do different activities for the day, really just kind of know what's happening in your area. Like I said, the conditions are really right and set up for it for that day. A warning means that, no, there is something happening. Do seek shelter. Do take care. Take your precautions now and start taking action.
Yeah, and 10 years ago that tornado hit, and then I think people realize that I guess we do have to, we're not protected in Merrill, we do need to be prepared. So hearing that you have an area in your house and you have supplies put together is something really to consider, no matter where you live.
This is a NOAA radio. You can get online. I think I got this one for about $35, so I like it. It has a clock, so you can look and monitor. This will kind of keep you updated. Gives you the time, and then you can also listen to it.
And now the forecast for your local area.
And it'll continue to give the updated information for your area. So another tool that I like that I actually have in my own personal one is the hand cranked radio. But it has the radio. I actually have it preset to the local radio station here from my area where I live. It has a radio, it has a siren and alarm, it has a flashlight, it's got a blink red light. Like I said, just real simple, just a hand crank operation here. And then we'll see if we can turn on the radio. I have a little compass and a whistle, something that if we got stuck in our area that if we can get access to, and we hear people coming and doing, the responders are doing their welfare checks and their search and rescue, that this would alert them that if we couldn't get out, that this would help to kind of alert that we need assistance. In our basement, our tornado section, I have probably about 6 of them, and I really like them. They're just a little push on and off light. Picked it up at our local store here, and they're just less than a couple bucks. The darkness is going to be a little scary, so just having these lights, I probably had these for at least 3 years with the same batteries. Obviously, batteries are something you're going to want to keep on hand, and I have a stockpile of batteries downstairs in my basement as well in my shelter. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Sometimes it just takes a little creativity. I keep a bag in my pantry instead of just constantly buying food and storing in my basement that I never use and let it expire. I just make sure I have some stuff in my pantry that I will utilize on a regular basis, and I keep a little handbag in there that way if we get that tornado warning and we're preparing to go downstairs, I can fill the bag up real quick, grab some snacks for the kids, and we can head downstairs for water.
My thanks to Lieutenant Don Seubert and Mike Hanlon for sharing their experiences from 10 years ago. Also, thanks to Jane Thiel of Expressions Photography for sharing some photos and videos, and thanks to September Murphy for her thoughts on tornado and severe weather preparedness. Remember that Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week is coming up, including a statewide drill on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. It's a great time to practice and prepare just in case there's another Merrill tornado in our future. As always, thanks for watching.